How many countries has an average American travel to?
27% of Americans haven't left the United States.
An average American has traveled to 4 countries.
Would you like to be comfortable traveling the world? Stay tuned while we discuss some of the lessons that we've learned from years of international travel, how those lessons have made both our life and our travels much better. Hi, I'm Colleen,
And I'm Shaan. Welcome to Travel is for You.
where we share traveling tips and knowledge that we have gained from years of international travel experience. So the first challenge that we're going to discuss that all world travelers have to face is the challenge of logistics. How are you going to pay for your trip? Everything costs money, and you need to be able to access your funds. Our first choice is using a credit card. Our credit card of choice is the Chase Sapphire Reserve, and the reason we like that card is because it has $300 travel credit that comes every single year, and it's offset against all travel expenses, any travel expense, I should say, not all, any travel expenses, and they don't have to be booked through the Chase portal. It's an expensive card, but if you take that $300 out and then you add in all the other benefits of the card, the points, the ease of use, it becomes well worth it. But you can't always use a credit card.
So sometimes you do need cash. In the past, we will go to our bank and try to get the local currency to whatever country we were going to. Now we don't do this because it's much easier to go to any ATM machine in the country where you need the money and get the cash from the ATM machines directly.
And you get the best exchange rate at the ATM directly from a bank that's in country. From your own bank is actually giving you the best exchange rate.
So sometimes people don't do this because it is expensive to get money from an ATM machine because they charge you fees for using the ATM.
Also, they charge foreign transaction fees as well.
That's
and
right.
those two things can really add up and make this an expensive proposition to get cash.
That's right. And we found, after much research, that Schwab has an investor account, and if you have that account, they also issue you a debit card, and if you use that debit card anywhere in the world, whatever fees are charged to your account, Schwab will reimburse you for those fees.
Yeah, and that's pretty literally, anything. We were in Istanbul, we used an ATM to get money, US dollars actually, out of an ATM in Istanbul, and the fee was $40. And just as true to their word as they are, Schwab reimbursed us that $40 ATM fee. It could really add up over time if we didn't have the Schwab card. The other thing about ATM cards is it's really important not to put your ATM card into a machine that eats the card. And I mean literally they can eat the card. But if you put it into an ATM machine where it takes the card inside and something happens, like you forget your PIN, or there's some damage, or there's some malfunction even within the ATM, you will not see that card again. And you're traveling and you're dependent on that card. So the real goal is to use an ATM machine like the one that I'm showing you right now on screen, that you just insert it. You're holding onto the card still. Sometimes you just put it in, it reads it, and you pull the card out. And that way your card is not at risk of being consumed by the ATM machine.
There are several reasons that an ATM will take your debit card.
Mm-hmm.
The main reason that I know of is that you are entering the PIN number wrong. I have done this myself. Luckily, I just tried one time and took the card back, but this could happen to anybody because I changed my PIN number and then I wasn't sure if I changed the PIN number, so I tried the old one. So
you could lose your card. You could lose your card.
You could lose your card because you
Yeah.
changed the PIN number. So it's a good idea to memorize, and I mean memorize. Do not ever write your numbers anywhere, or at least that's what they suggest, and I don't write them. So know a PIN number and know your PIN number.
Okay, that was good. The other thing about an ATM card is not to just have one. I was traveling in London and my card got eaten by the machine. Probably my fault from misdoing my PIN number. But it was eaten by the machine. I was panicked because it was gone. I called the bank. I went to the bank. They said, nope, sorry, that machine actually chews up the card, shreds it right there on site. So there's not even any way to recover it. So the card was gone. Fortunately, we travel with 2 ATM cards. And so we actually have 2 Schwab cards. My wallet was just stolen in Athens last January, and my ATM card was in there. But Shaan had his, and so we just moved on. Like there was no problem at all. So always have a backup card.
And I remembered my PIN number. So another thing to deal with is your mail. Most Americans get a lot of mail, so do we. So one of the first things that you can start with is to take everything that comes in the mail and try to change this to a paperless delivery. We have Social Security, both of us, and we changed it to paperless delivery. So we both have Social Security. So we started from there and we changed this to electronic notification. So it comes to our emails. We did the same thing with the doctor's offices. Wherever they can text you, we ask them to text or email instead of sending a note in the mail.
Or calling, because we don't get phone calls.
That's right. If they call, also request them to do a text or do an email.
Yeah.
We did that pretty much with all the utility bills, whatever bills or anything that was coming in the mail.
Credit card statements.
Yes. But the way we did this, if there is a paper copy in the mail, we will just go right there and change it to paperless. So that is done right there.
So one of the other things that we did too was to go through and try to take ourselves off of distribution of so many things. We did this in our email because if we're relying on our email as all communication, we didn't want it clogged up with a lot of spam. So we went through, and we still have to do that periodically, but we do go through and try to delist ourselves from those distributions, and that's also very possible to do with mail that's coming to you, physical mail.
Yes, and it's even if you travel a little bit less, this is a good thing to start now because you get used to getting those statements in your email or through the text. I prefer email because I can see it on my computer a lot easier because it's bigger screen.
But think of all the trees you're saving too, because they aren't sending you paper, and so much of it is just so useless. Now you will have some things that are going to be hard, or maybe you missed something, and the tax bill that comes once a year, you forgot to ask for that to come electronically, so it comes in the mail. You need to have somebody checking your mail if you still have a physical location, or you need your mail forwarded to some family or friend. And if that's a bit much, which sometimes it does feel like you're imposing, you can use a mail service. There are a lot of mail services in the US that were started to help RVers who are traveling a lot. And they have services where they'll scan your envelope and send it to you, and you can decide if you want them to open it or throw it away. Or you can have services where they just scan everything to you and send it to you by email. So basically, it's forced everything to be paperless for you.
Yep. Your first preference and our first preference is to change it to electronic, so that is emails and texts.
And then you don't have to pay anybody or anything to take care of your mail because you don't have any.
And it's fast. When they send something, you get a copy immediately. And it does not get lost.
The last logistics that we're going to talk about today is your phone. You're paying for everything with a credit card. You're getting your mail electronically, but still you have a phone, right? You use your phone for everything. And what are you going to do when you land in a new country?
So we used to spend a significant amount of money on telephones when we traveled internationally. It cost us around $10 per person to have the phone coverage overseas.
For 10 days, I think. It wasn't even very long.
No, $10 was per day.
Oh, $10 per day. Okay, that was expensive.
Oh.
We found out about.
And then we found out about T-Mobile. T-Mobile has a lot of benefits for people who travel number one benefit that I'm a big fan of, when you travel and you are in an airplane, they have deals with a lot of airplanes where you get coverage the whole time, for high-speed internet, for text, for emails, for
You can
even for
stream.
streaming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they are very good. But another benefit, which is absolutely wonderful, is when you go to another country, when you land and you turn your phone on, it already has coverage in whatever country you land in. We have traveled to a lot of countries, and with T-Mobile, when we land and we turn the phones on, it has complete coverage. We can make.
It's been pretty universal. I don't think we've ever been anywhere where we haven't gotten the text message saying, you have unlimited data and 5 gigs of fast data.
Fast data. So let's talk about the data. The one thing that we do is we make all phone calls using the internet. And since we have high-speed data up to 5 gigs, and then even after that, you have data. So it doesn't go away. It just slows down a little. But you can still make phone calls using the internet. So we do use 2 apps predominantly. We use WhatsApp and we use FaceTime.
And we use the Wi-Fi at hotels to do those things.
Exactly.
We really try not to use our data for that. Data is, to me, like if you're out and you're trying to get someplace, you might want to use your data to access your maps, right? To do something like that. I save my data for those things, and we use Wi-Fi, which is everywhere. Wi-Fi in restaurants, Wi-Fi in the hotel, and we use WhatsApp and FaceTime to communicate with our family. So Wi-Fi, rely on your Wi-Fi everywhere. And find yourself a good provider. Again, we recommend T-Mobile, but something that will make it possible for you to have data when you need it as you land on the ground, inexpensively.
Get T-Mobile. We don't get any money from them, but they've been a wonderful company to travel with.
The second challenge for world travelers is the challenge of acquiring cultural knowledge. It's really important before you show up or when you show up in a country that you understand what that country's culture is like. You need to do some research, for example, about the food. What are you going to eat? Are you able to try out some of the foods ahead of time so that you're comfortable? I think it's really important to learn major words like hello, goodbye, thank you, please. These are really critical. And even if you don't get it exactly right, the fact that you're trying to speak their language, even in these simple ways, will really help you to make a connection with the people around you. You need to research currency, understand what it is, how much the conversion rate is. Get yourself familiar with those conversion apps before you show up. And I think it's important to understand the religion and cultural practices of a country so that you don't offend people as you travel around. I think it makes it a really good thing to help you connect more with the people that whose country you are in, is to find out if there's any local festivals going on at the time that you're there, and to go and be a part of it so that you are really in touch with the country that you're in.
So one of the things that I like to do is to learn about the history of the country where we are going. Why do I care about knowing the history? I don't know. I think some philosopher said long time ago that one of the basic human needs is to know, and I believe in that. So for me, I feel the urge to know a little bit about other people, and it's especially easier when you are in their country.
I think part of that really also is to help us break through our preconceived notions. I mean, a lot of things we think that we have total access to world information, but we have discovered this through travel, is that we have kind of blinders on. I think it's true in every country. You've got blinders for what's going on in your country, and not necessarily have we had a global view all the time. So I think understanding the history of things gives you a different perspective on that culture. And I think a really good example of that is we are in Vietnam right now. I grew up in the Vietnam War era. And so I had a definite preconception about what Vietnam was going to be like. And it is not at all like what I thought it was going to be like. And first thing that started off is we call it the Vietnam War. They call it the American War, or they call it the War of American Aggression. I was just shocked by that. I was like, what? But of course they do. It's a totally different perspective. And that's part of what is happening in the world, is that we are all not seeing the other side. We just see our side of things. And so it's really exciting to travel the world and to start to see the world from a different side, from a different way of looking at exactly the same facts.
And Vietnamese people are wonderful people. They've been so kind and friendly and helpful to us. And so are Americans. Americans love to come and visit this country. So it's a pretty healthy relationship both ways.
But I do believe that a lot of that, really, you can get so much knowledge about a culture from studying its history. Absolutely. And, just trying to understand how they got to where they are now, right? You think about the history of the United States and how it led us to where we are. Yeah. I think that's critical. And so I really strongly encourage every traveler to do a little bit of research before or after they get there.
I think travel is a privilege. We are very lucky, most of us who are able to travel. One of the things, and I may be misquoting, it was Aldous Huxley who said, well, when you travel and you go to a place, you realize everything that you were told about that country, everything was wrong. And you are learning anew, you're starting fresh. And in many cases, I found that to be true.
I think that foreigners coming to the United States go through exactly the same thing. They see the images of the U.S. through movies and TV shows, and they think that's the way we all live, and of course it's not that way. So it's kind of nice to see that we're doing the same thing in other countries.
Yeah.
The third challenge for world travelers is staying in touch with family and friends while you're gone.
So back in the days when I used to work, of course that terrible thing, COVID, happened, and one of the things that I missed the most was seeing my colleagues and seeing my family and seeing my friends. And one of the things that I got into the practice of was to not just calling via telephone, but calling with a video call. I could see them and they could see me. Mm-hmm. And I think that's been a wonderful thing when we travel, because we try not to call people by phone. We try to call them with a video call. We see them and they see us. And you really stay in touch with your loved ones a lot better with a video call. You don't always have to do it, but to me, it's a missed opportunity. You're calling.
Yeah, and especially nice because we have like grandchildren and they're changing like almost daily. So it's really nice to be able to FaceTime with them, to even with our own children who are already grown. It's just nice to make that connection, and it's easier to continue that connection when you can physically see each other. One thing we haven't been very successful at is getting everybody together at one time. We've talked about it, and I think we'll keep on talking about it and trying, but to have one of those big calls, like a big WhatsApp call with 10 people on it, but to have a lot of people coordinated where they're all calling in at the same time, because it also helps them. Not all of our family lives in the same place. They don't always see each other. So it's a good thing to have this connection that they can maintain as well. And we're going to keep trying for that. It's just a little hard because we're 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours difference. So we either have to stay up really late or get up really early, and the same for them. And everybody's got a different schedule. And so that is a real challenge, but it's not one that I'm willing to give up on.
It is good to see your friends, and it is good to see your family, not just talk to them, but also see them. And the technology is available as of today for free.
And it's free. It's yes. Free, that's yes. Right.
Why not do it?
So the other thing, and the very last one that we're going to talk about, is trying to create an atmosphere of home while you're away. Because being homesick or just feeling that need to feel at home is important to all of us. It's part of human nature. So one of the things that I think is really, really critical is to slow down. If you're a retirement traveler like we are, we're not on vacation anymore. This is our life. And slowing down and have slow travel, as they call it, makes it easier for you to feel at home. If you stay in the same hotel for 2 weeks or more, you make friends with the staff. You know the concierge really well. You might have a driver that you always use, a Grab or Uber driver or whatever. You create your own little community, and that makes you feel comfortable and at peace and like you're at home.
If this is something important to you, and it is to us to feel comfortable wherever we are, we make an effort. We go say hello to the concierge. We go and I ask for help when I need help. And that turns it into a positive relationship. Now people want to help you, especially people who are in the tourism industry. At restaurants, at hotels.
Yeah, learning their names and
Yeah.
introducing yourself, because they can we can learn their name, but if we don't tell them, hey, I'm Colleen and I'm Shaan, it's the one-sided deal. So we need to sort of open the door for both directions so that people feel comfortable. And I think another thing that we do, like I said, is staying in a particular place long enough to develop those relationships. But since we're staying here longer, we unpack. And unpacking your clothes and putting them in the closet for 2 weeks really feels good. I mean, we travel out of a suitcase a lot of the time, but I really like it, and I do feel more at home if instead of digging something out of a packing cube, I've got it hanging up in the closet and I can just put it on. And I think that's important as a way to make me feel at home. And the last thing that I think is important for me is music. I love to listen to music while I'm in the shower. And I have a little Bluetooth speaker that I use. I bring my own music with me. I mean, with Wi-Fi and VPN, I can access any kind of music from services from home. And so I love to be able to listen to the music I grew up listening to. And I do feel more comfortable and more at home when I have that.
And this is a joy of our time that we have this technology. I listen to similar kind of books that I listen to at home. I listen to them while we travel. I listen to pretty much the same music that I listen to at home. I listen to it when we travel. So it does give you the feeling, a true feeling of being in a familiar environment, at least when you are doing these activities.
You can call it home. It's our home for when we're here. And the other thing that reinforces that is routine. We have a pretty set routine. We just take it with us from hotel to hotel, country to country. We get up in the morning, we have a cup of tea. Almost every hotel room has a kettle in it, and we have tea. We take a shower, and I listen to my music. And then we go and have breakfast in the hotel. And that's our routine. And yeah, it changes a little from location to location, but that's makes us feel comfortable and makes us feel like not like strangers, like we are living in whatever place we're in, and it makes it a lot easier to travel the world.
So one of the familiar things for me, for example, is breakfast. Wherever we go, whatever hotel we are staying in, they either have a menu or they have a buffet.
Sorry. Yeah.
If they have a menu, you can choose the things that you like to eat. And of
Yeah.
course, if you have buffet, I always say it's a challenge to go find the best things that I want to eat today. And 100% of the times I find them. I just have to go look for them. And sometimes if I don't find them, I simply ask. And if it's available or they can make it available, the hotel staff always does.
So we really do believe that travel is for you, and we hope that these challenges, the 4 big challenges that every long-term traveler faces, that we've helped you find solutions for them so that you'll feel comfortable traveling the world too.
About to leave, already packing.